and welcome to Hobby Starter. This is our amazing designer, the wonderful Alison Tarry. And today, Alison Tarry is going to be teaching you how to use looms, different looms for loom beading, I understand.
It's all about the loom beading, Zena.
So what is a loom?
So a loom, traditionally, if you go back in history, you used looms for weaving. So then it started coming into beadwork. So it very much takes techniques from the beading, from the original looms.
Yeah.
We have warp threads, we have waft threads.
Ooh.
You always know your warp is the straight ones, the waft wafts through.
I think of it wafting through a window.
If you think of it wafting through, that's the one that always moves. So your warp is what you set up in it originally.
Okay.
And then so it's attaching beads to threads.
And I'll tell you what, the result is absolutely phenomenal for jewellery and decorations and...
Absolutely. Yeah. So you can use it for jewellery, bracelets, necklaces, bookmarks, earrings, a purse.
A bauble.
Christmas decorations.
Ooh, that looks snazzy, doesn't it?
You know, you can personalise so much.
Wow.
So much. I've got one that I'll show you later, which is a bag in progress, a little clutch bag.
Oh, fantastic.
So you can use it for all sorts. It's such a fabulous... Basically, you're beading fabric.
Yeah.
And you're beading it into the shape you want. So you're going to need a loom. Now, there's different looms on the market. There's a whole host of looms. I've got quite a lot of them. I'm not an addict. So if I give you a rundown of some of the ones we've had here at JewelleryMaker.
Yeah, great.
So if we start on this T-bar here, sorry. This is mostly stretchies. So if I put my finger in there, you can see they're all done on elastic. So your warp threads are actually elastic bands.
Oh, fantastic.
They're a special elastic band.
Right, okay.
It's called an endless loom. They're a special elastic band. So you put them on, so you have no warps to finish at the end of it. You've still got your waft threads that you have to finish off, but your warp threads are all done. Now, if you're doing something that's, say, like this one up here, this has got 3 warp threads.
Okay.
If it wasn't elastic, you haven't got a lot of finishing to do. Okay. Okay. I referenced this a bit earlier. So this is a bag I'm working on.
Oh, let's have a look.
So this has got 86 warp threads.
Oh my goodness, right, okay.
You can imagine the amount of finishing off you've got with that. So you know, there's a lot of chalk and cheese going on here. So
when you start looming then, you can start with the basics, but there's a real progression to go through, isn't there?
And the thing is, you're technique-wise, it's very, very similar.
Okay.
So there's not a lot of extra technique. It's just more.
Yeah, more of the same.
Of it.
Okay.
So we'll come back to that sort of thing. We'll come back to that sort of thing in a bit.
But today, are we sort of aiming at beginners? That's the idea today. If we've never loomed before.
If you've never loomed before, we're going to get you starting to loom.
Fabulous.
So this is what like I say, this is what we've called the endless loom. It's a stretchy band. They're great. They're easy to wear. Yeah. They're very quick to do.
And they look great, don't they?
They look fabulous.
Look great and nice and comfy.
And you can get, so this has got gemstones in it. Most of these on this T-bar have got beads, and you can see that the different sizes beads, it doesn't all have to be the same. We've got shaped beads, we've got hexagonal beads in there, we've got 6/0 beads here, we've got 8/0s at the end. You can use
lots of different types of beads and gemstones and seed beads. And just to mention, we do have a designated jewellery making channel at www.jewellerymaker.com, and everything that we have is available on that website.
Absolutely. You know, even to the point of doing your pearls up here. Now, the difference between those two, apart from slightly difference, this has got black elastic and this has got white, but it can give you quite a different feel. This is quite bridal, whereas this one's quite contemporary with the black.
Quite dressy, isn't it? Quite sort of evening wear,
But again, so comfy. great if you've got arthritis, if you struggle to clasp things.
Some people can't wear metal and things, can they?
Absolutely.
So,
those are completely metal free.
Brilliant.
So
Fantastic.
that's the elastic.
So you
and
won't
of
go
course,
off as you go through airport security.
No.
Even better.
And now the bauble, this again is elasticated.
Oh,
so
nice.
this middle section here has been done on the loom, and then I've just beaded top and bottom. So you've got different size loom bands that you can get, and I know we have those on. Yeah. So there's 8, 7 and 6, so you can put them over different size baubles. The same as you get different size wrists.
Is that 8-inch, 7-inch and 6-inch?
Yes,
right,
sorry, thank you.
Okay.
Yes. So that's that kind of beading. Then most of the other beading, that's quite a unique.
Yeah.
Most of the other beading is what I call fixed. So it's rigid. There's no stretch in it,
so to speak. Yeah. Right. Okay.
So you have to. So we've got all this T-bar. These are all done. If you see, they've got clasps at the back.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
So you've got those are mostly. In fact, those are all 11Os seed beads, which again we've got loads on the website. I'm trying to see if we've got any on there that are 8s now. So if we flip over to the other side, the big necklace on the far side,
which is amazing.
I love that. The bib one. So that's with 8Os. Again, that's a fixed size.
So am I right thinking 8O beads are larger than the 11Os? Yes. What does that number refer to?
So the number refers to the number of beads per inch. So the higher the number, the smaller the bead.
Right. And isn't it, if you put them face up and you line them up, the 8O would match to an inch? Is that right?
That's it.
Got you.
So they've got to make to an inch.
Okay, thank you.
So you can get different size beads. Now I've got something to show you. Let me just pull this one off here. Let me just pop that one off there.
Okay.
So, and this shows you what a difference you can make with choice of beads. So this is quite nice. This is with 8Os. We're going to use this later. This is the same pattern with 11Os. There you go, with 11Os.
That's the same pattern
and a different
as well.
colourways. That's exactly the same pattern.
That looks so different.
It's got an extra column of these diamonds wide.
Yeah.
But it's exactly the same pattern.
Oh my goodness.
But just different colours and different sizes.
Oh my gosh.
Right,
so what actually do we need to get started, ideally?
So we're going to need a loom.
Okay.
Now, like I say, there's loads on the market.
Yep.
This is a bead-along jewel loom, which is it's a great one to start with.
Okay.
This is my favourite one.
Ooh.
So this is
He's a big one, isn't he?
So don't be, but the thing is, it's scalable.
Yeah.
So this you can go as wide as you want, or as narrow as you want.
Oh, okay.
There's nothing to stop you doing.
You're not restricted.
Three columns wide on here.
And the good news with that one is actually you're doing it facing you, and your hands are free, aren't they?
You do it like that.
Yeah.
Your work is down there, and you've got space for your hands. Yeah. And it's upright rather. I know I suffer from leaning over. I get a terrible pain in the back of my neck because unless I set an alarm, I'll be there for hours on end. You just lose track of time.
Because it is very mindful bead looming, isn't it?
It's very mindful. Yeah. It's apart from the pattern, it's a very repetition process.
So you get lost in your loom.
Yeah. So we're gonna set this one up.
Okay.
I'm gonna show you how to set it up. It does come flat packed.
Okay.
So this bit is just putting your bolts through. And they show you how to do that in the website. But I want to show you how I actually strand one.
And this is the lovely thing with JewelleryMaker.com and YouTube and all the different designers that we've got here, that you're never left on your own.
No.
There's always instruction, there's always support, there's always assistance, there's always a wonderful demonstration and inspiration. This is the great thing. So you're never on your own. So it's a great place to start.
It is.
So what have you got there, lovely?
So I've got some wildfire here. You can use wildfire, fireline. Those two are coated and pre-stretched.
And they're a thread, are they?
They're a thread. They're a beading thread. Just a standard beading thread. If you use other beading threads, so like a KO, an IMO, they've got give in them.
Okay.
So what you have to do is pull them through some beeswax.
Beeswax. That's it, yeah.
And as you pull it, if you keep it quite taut and you pull it, you're actually stretching it at the same time as you're coating it. and you coat it because what you don't want is your needle to be passing through the thread a lot. It splits. As soon as it splits, each individual thread is weaker than the combined threads. So if you think about it, if you've got a piece of rope, if you open that, flayed it out till you've got all the individual ones, it's easy to cut. If you've got a big thick rope on its own, it's hard to cut.
But to avoid all that, if you're starting out, then if you go for Wildfire or Fireline, both of which are at JewelleryMaker.com,
then you
haven't got to do any of that.
You're safe.
That sounds easier.
And the difference, big difference between those two as far as when we use them at JewelleryMaker is the Wildfire tends to come in different colours, the same sort of size. The Fireline comes in different gauges, different sizes, so you can have a finer thread and a thicker thread. Most of your beading tends to get done on this sort of thread. You don't need the 4 the 4 mil is very fine.
And you like the green Wildfire because it kind of disappears, doesn't it, with all the different colours?
The place you're going to see when you're beading, the place you're going to see your thread. So I've done this one in blue purely because it's mainly blues, but the most you're going to see, I'm going to turn it around that way, right, is right in there.
Right on the edge.
Right on that edge. Well, I'm sorry, but if people are getting that close to you, can you see that blue line going along there? That's all you're going to see. You don't see it from the front.
They're going to be very up close and personal if you see that edge of thread, aren't they?
But if you've got a colour that matches, so this is mainly blue, I've used a blue. Only because I had blue. If it was black, you're still not going to see it massively.
So don't worry about it too much.
Don't worry about it. I've matched the colours because I happen to have them. So when you're doing a loom, be it something like the Beadalon, or something like this, they've all got grooves. You've all got grooves. This one on here has got it's a rod through a this is a spring. So it's a rod through a spring. It's all the same sort of thing, and all of them will have at the back some sort of knobbly bit to take your thread past.
Technical term.
Technical term, knobbly bit. There's probably a proper word for it. The knobbly bit.
I think we prefer that.
So, and on this one, you've got the knobbly bits on. Now, obviously, you've got more because you've got.
It's wider.
Like I say, that other one's the full width at 86. This will take 86 11s.
Wow.
And that's the main thing you've got to remember. Right. So, you've got to decide what pattern you want. Once you've decided what pattern you want, it can be from very simple to as complicated as you want. The purses, which were 90 wide, so the purses, every single line was different. It's not any more difficult than doing something that's 3 or 4 wide. You've just got to follow it. It's like doing diamond painting. It's like doing cross stitch. It's exactly the same sort of thing. The beads are stacked one on top of each other exactly. So it's exactly the same process. In fact, if you're looking for a pattern, you can use a diamond painting. You can use a cross stitch pattern if you want. Just make sure you've got the wide as you want. Or, and as long as you want. So that's your 2 things you've got to go.
Because you can draw pictures and write names and do animal print and all sorts, can't you?
So the bookmarks we've got over there, well, bookmarks and bracelets we've got over there, again, they're slightly more complicated because they've got different. Shall
I hold them up for you to have a good look?
They might slide off. They're not actually attached.
Let me just see if I can hold them. Okay, does that help a bit? In fact, I'm going to have to bring the timer off. He's going to have to come and have his camera debut, I'm afraid. Look at that. And it goes with my top, doesn't it? Oh, I'll have to pop that in my book in the car then. So that looks amazing.
You can use these as wall hangings. You could have a whole collection of animals. You can do all sorts of things. So if you're any good at drawing, and I know someone I knew, a customer, it's graph paper. You need some graph paper. So they got some graph paper, gave it to their son. I am a bit partial to the dragon.
Well, you are Welsh. We had to show the dragon, didn't we? Let's be real.
So they marked out on the graph paper the size, and they used, is it Minecraft? And the little lad had done his own design in Minecraft.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So you can build your own patterns.
Oh, wow, how amazing.
If you go into, do it in graph paper.
Yeah.
Draw it and then fill in the squares.
Okay.
Like again, very similar to if you were creating a cross stitch pattern, or if you were creating a diamond painting.
Okay, lovely.
So I'm just going to move that to one side.
To get started.
I know. It sounds a lot. It sounds a long way to get started, but it's worth taking the time.
Yeah, of course.
So you need a pattern. Now I've got, that's the one I showed you earlier. This is the pattern. Do you want me to hold it up? Oh, there you go.
That's great.
So this is the pattern. Now there's a couple of ways you can do it. If you've got your craft paper or your pattern, you can literally go through line by line and say, I need that bead, that bead, that bead, that bead. And then what I would tend to do, if I do it like that, I'll cross a line through it.
Line as
so
you go.
I do that if I'm doing a knitting pattern. I do that, it's just easier to then see where you're at. If you go and make a cup of tea and you come back and you're like, oh, which line was I on? This is actually a repetitious pattern.
Easy for you to say.
And it's also split, so it mirrors. So
oh, I see.
This side is the same as this side. So in actual fact, by the time you've got somewhere down here, you'll pick it up.
Yeah.
Or you just look above it and go, what did I do? If I'm doing this line here, what's that line there on my pattern, on my already beaded? So it becomes very easy. This has got 13 across.
Okay.
If you've got something more complicated, like say the elephant, then again,
shall I show you?
I wouldn't use the pattern for the elephant. I would use what we call a word chart, because the colours, there's 11 different greys in there.
Wow.
To get that subtlety. So the colours are quite close, and it becomes quite difficult.
Yeah.
It's very difficult for us to visually pick out those colours individually by beads. They look the same.
Yeah.
However, when they're in there, they give that, going right in close, you can see those differences. Whereas when you pull out, it gives you that picture as a whole, and you get the shade and the light and the dark.
Can I just say that is absolutely brilliant, Alison?
Oh, thank you.
He's very handsome.
I do love making the patterns.
Yeah.
I really do. And we have a pattern book on our website.
Oh, brilliant! Yes,
we've got a pattern book that I've done on the website. We've also got access if you go onto JewelleryMaker YouTube channel.
Yeah.
We've got lots of different patterns on there and different
demos. So again,
demos.
you're always looked after. We've always got your hand held.
Absolutely. So if we've got the pattern and it's too complicated, we do something that's called a word chart. So when I make a pattern, I'll give you a bead list.
Right. Okay.
Right? But I'll also give you a place where you can put yours.
Oh, okay. That's great.
Those two were totally different colourways.
Yeah.
So this is a different one to that. You could put your colours in there. And
lovely.
then the chart itself is literally A, B, C, D. So it just goes off this bead list.
Brilliant. So you can amend it if you want to with your colour choice.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's like a knitting pattern. If you get a knitting pattern, they might say you want to use, I don't know, Serda double knitting shade XYZ. And you're like, I really don't like that. It does nothing for me. I'm going to use a purple shade.
Okay.
But it's still the same knitting pattern.
Yeah.
You're still going to be able to use it. And it's the same with this. It tells you how many beads you need of each one.
Oh, great. Okay.
Which is great, because you might have dribs and drabs left over.
Yeah.
You might have, and if you go on the internet, it will tell you how many's in a 22-gram tube of 11s, how many's of 8s.
There's a lot.
So you can work out exactly how many beads.
Okay.
So when we're doing the word chart, all you're doing is filling your needle. Okay, I'll go through more detail of that when we start sewing. But the main thing I wanted to come through is you've got the two different types, but this gives you how many you've got along. So I've got 13 beads.
Okay.
So I'm going to need 14 warps. You always have one more warp thread to your number of beads.
Oh, okay.
Because you're going to have one either side of each bead.
Right.
So you've got the two on the outside. Right. So all that was in prelude.
I'm with you so far.
Right. Excellent.
Are you?
So now we're going to start, and I'm going to do it this way round. I'll come back to the net numbers on here when we do the chart.
You read my mind, Ian. I was just about to say to you, what are those numbers on that mat?
Yeah, no, I'll come back to that.
You, thank you.
Let me get this threaded because I jumped. So I start off. I just do just create a knot, just create a loop. So I've done fold over your thread.
Yep.
Come here, and you're just doing a loop and fetching that through and making a knot.
Okay.
So you're just making a knot. Then we're going to place that over one of our knobbly bits. I'm going to go in the middle because I'm not doing a big wide one. Okay, so I've done it. Now I like to have a little bit of extra. Okay. So I tend to...
Why is that then?
Just me. I've never used it. Belts and braces. Yeah. I did once, it was when I was threading the big one, I didn't have enough on the reel and I had to readjust it. Right, and once you've done that many, it's like, oh, I've got to start again. So I just like to have a little bit of extra, just in case.
Yeah.
So you want to basically aim for the middle, but then you want to split. So I'm going to do a very simple 5-1.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
So I want 2 either side. So I'm going to put 2 there. Now, this loom itself, these are all set up for 11s.
11 OC beads.
11 OC beads.
Right,
if I wanted to do 8s, I'd put one every other.
Oh, okay, so you can still do both?
You can still do both. If you want to do 6s, you can spread it out. So basically, if you're looking at doing, let's say the pearls, you can still do the pearls on this. You can do it fixed rather than stretchy. Or if you want to do gemstones, then you'd look at how wide you want to be for your widest one. Okay. And then set your thread through it. So you're going to put it in the groove, then you're going to come down. Try and get it straight, but I wouldn't bother counting.
No.
I wouldn't bother counting. Then we're going to go around the little knobbly bit at the bottom. Now I'm keeping a tension, but I'm not pulling it tight. I just want it so that it's not slack like that. I just want to have a little bit of tension. I'm going to go back through the next one for it, and then I'm going to back up the top. So I'm doing every single one, sorry.
Yeah, okay.
So this is wide enough for an 11-0. So that's 4, 5. So that's enough for 4 beads. If we do one more, we've got 5 beads. Now it doesn't matter that that's off center. That doesn't matter at all. Can you see the beads under there?
Can see the thread.
Okay, let me, if I tip it that way, there you go.
Got it. Brilliant.
You can see that.
Brilliant.
Works on the dark background.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm still hanging on to my thread here. Don't let it go because you don't have to have a massive tension at this stage, although you do want those taut. Okay. But we'll do that in a minute. So I'm going to tip it back up. So we now need to finish this off. So I'm just going to go around the top again. If you're doing the bead-along, what I sometimes do is go from one to the other knobbly bit, or I'll take it to the side and wrap it round. Take it up here to the side and go back where there. I've done it a few times. Just go backwards and forwards.
Just to secure it.
And then you're just literally going to tie it off. So I'm going to now snip that off there, and you're tying it off again. You want to try and keep that tension. Come on, underneath. But like I say, it's not the end of the world if it's not massively taut yet. It just, if you start getting, come here. Oh well, we'll tie it around there now. There's no right or wrong. You're going to snip off down there when you've finished.
Okay.
Okay, let me pull that through. Right, so now we've got to that stage. We're still quite waggly. We've still got a lot of tension. In fact, we've got an awful lot of tension that's slacked off. I'm just going to wrap it round. That's the joy of this one as well. You can wrap it round.
Yeah, there's lots of places to attach to, isn't there?
There's lots of places. Okay, so now we want to tension this. That's the joy of this, the peak tail.
That's what this one's called.
This is called.
The peak tail.
Yeah. So with the bead-along one, they have a tensioning rod across there. Let me just. I'll come back to that. So there's a tensioning rod. Can you see the 2 holes?
Yep.
Yeah. Which kind of, as soon as it holds it in a little bit, and then as soon as you take it out, it applies extra tension. Okay. So it gives you an extra tension on there.
So this one, the peak tail doesn't bend, obviously, does it?
Doesn't bend. Okay. So what you've got is you hold these open, you just slack that off slightly, and then you turn. And then you tighten that up.
Oh, you're going to play us a tune, Alison?
We've now got a lot of tension there. That's really nice.
Easy.
Yeah.
Okay.
And also with this one, you can roll those round both a lot further, so you can get a longer length.
Okay.
So you can actually take it over the top of here and roll it round there.
Brilliant.
Okay.
That's good.
So you're now set up. That's it.
There you go.
You're done.
Difficult,
you're ready to go.
Okay.
Okay. So now we're going to come to what's the ABC.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, before we do that, we're going to use the same thread to
the wildfire again.
Yeah. But what I'm using, this is a loom needle.
That seems very long.
It's very long. Now, if you imagine doing quite a few of these, it's beautiful. If you use a normal beading needle, it's about that long.
Oh, that's going to make it quite difficult.
So it makes it quite difficult.
Yeah, right, okay.
If you pass me old Effalump over.
Just to let you know as well, again, those needles are available on our JewelleryMaker channel.
Can you see? That's one through.
Oh, okay.
So it's
quite a wide one.
That's a wide one. For things like the purse, for things like the bigger one I've got, you're going through three times.
Okay, lovely. Thank you.
You want these. They're also a lot stiffer than your traditional beading needle.
You can see that actually, yeah.
So whilst they'll still do,
Sorry, Alison,
it's okay. Whilst they're still, got a flex.
Yes.
They don't. They're a lot harder metal.
Okay. More rigid.
So they're more rigid, which makes it easier.
Okay.
So
good to know.
So that's our needle sorted, and I tend to use a double wingspan of thread. By that I mean I annoy my husband by doing that. Yeah, exactly. I do about that much with double wingspan, snip it off, and that will do me quite a few rows.
Okay.
You can do it in less, whatever is easiest for you to handle. Okay. There is no right or wrong in this. I'm just lazy.
No loom police.
I don't like finishing off. Yeah. I don't like finishing it off too soon. So now all we need is some beads. Right. Can you do me a favour while I'm doing this? In that green bag is some 11s, because I've set it up for 11 now. So
I'll grab those.
These here. Let's go back to our pattern. Okay. This one, like I say, this has got 13, but it's got 6 colours. So I've got A, B, C, D, E, F. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 colours. So I put them with the letters. Now 6 isn't so bad. I can use a slightly smaller, smaller, and I've got one over there which has got less on it. But it means it's a lot easier than if you've got nothing on it. So if we put our 6 beads there, it's not so bad. You can know which was D and which was F. It's not so bad when you've got that many. When you've got I've done, I think it was S was the most I've done up to.
Oh my gosh, that's a lot of colours.
So there's a lot of colours. So when you're trying to lay them out, again, if you've got colours that are very similar to each other, how can you distinguish them? Well, that's E and that's F.
Yeah.
When you've got a lot
you had
of
those 11 shades of grey in the elephant, didn't you?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you've got your 11 shades of grey. It's difficult. So let's have
what colour would you like?
Let's have some very easily distinguishable colours that will make an absolutely rubbish pattern. So we'll go for let's do
okay, wonderful.
That many.
Okay,
we've got 5. We're going to do a very simple pattern. So what I would do is put. Hang on. Oops. I don't put tons out. I have 3 dogs at home. I never lay out tons of beads. And also, when
you've got to put them away if you don't finish the project.
Well, yeah, you've got to keep them safe.
Yeah.
So I just lay them out like this.
Okay.
You can do your own method. It's absolutely entirely up to you. It doesn't matter whether you've got 3 beads, 3 colours, or 6 colours, or 26 colours. You've got to lay out beads.
Yeah.
So you just lay it. Whoops. There we go. You lay out your beads.
We have these mats on our JewelleryMaker channel as well on the website.
Yeah.
So everything you need is available.
And this is just common garden masking tape. You don't need special masking tape.
Okay.
It's just masking tape that's sticky on one side and you can write on it.
Brilliant.
So That's a very good point there. Let me move this to one side.
Oh, okay.
I forgot something.
Oh.
Right, and those of you who are eagle-eyed will have noticed something that I've done on here.
Go on.
Masking tape.
Oh, you've stuck it down.
Yeah. Now, if I did that, which is to take that out, without the masking tape on, these would jump.
Oh.
So what would happen is your thread would jump.
Okay.
Okay. And again with this, if you have your masking tape and literally just cheap masking tape,
okay.
all you have to do is pop it on there.
Could I just mention as well that we do have that kind of tape on our JewelleryMaker channel website. So we have that as well.
Oh, there you go. You're covered in all respects.
We've got you covered with every channel.
Ah, there you go.
And that's hobbymaker.co.uk, whereas our JewelleryMaker channel is .com.
I have a huge supply of it at home, so I haven't had to buy any for a while. I will remember that. Again, it just keeps them in place.
Yeah.
When you're moving it, when you're rolling it, it means they don't jump if you catch them.
Okay, good tip.
Another thing is, so where this comes in play, is if you're going to leave this, if like you set this up,
yeah,
you've got a weekend, you're like, oh, I'm going to start and I'm going to get cracking, and you, oh, I can't do any more. I'm not going to be able to do any more till next weekend.
Because things change.
Things happen.
Yeah.
Whatever. You might have run out of time. You might have gone, oh God. You won't. You get addicted. Slack it off ever so slightly because this is under tension.
Okay.
So if you slack it off, it just stops this stretching.
Give it a rest.
Yeah, just give it a rest.
Okay.
The same as if you've got the endless loom, just take those elastic bands off to let them relax.
Okay.
You know, if you stretch an elastic band and you leave it stretched forever and a day, it never returns back to the right size. So you're preventing the overstretching.
Okay.
So you just,
thank you.
and this will help keep your work in place. I don't mean slack it off loads.
Just a little bit.
Just a fraction.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Let us get cracking.
Yes, come on.
Cool. So, the masking tape has another use. When I start, and I'm going to move that one over. There you go. Right, I'll put my thread between the first two. Okay, so I've gone between those first two warps, and I just do a half hitch. I never fix it
What's
here.
A half hitch?
Just a simple overhand knot.
It's a knot, is it?
Yeah,
Oh, right,
just
okay.
a simple knot. All you're doing is hang on, let me undo
That's
that.
the thing, we do these things in life. We don't necessarily know what they're called, do we?
And also different people call them different things.
That's why I just wanted to check. Thank you.
Let me undo that. That's the reason why I only ever do one, because you can undo it.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so I've got my thread through, cross it over, pop your thread through and pull it. That's your simplest knot you can do. Then what I do is I take that end, because your ends, you'd get lots of ends, is you take that end and you stick it on. So it just keeps them all out of the way. It's brilliant. It's perfect. Okay. I'm not worried that I'm not at the top. You can slide it.
Okay.
So
work where you're comfortable.
Where you're comfortable. And then working right up here in the very top is quite restricted. You've got these, but you can slide your work up to there if you need that full width. Okay. I think this one is 7.5 inches. Let me just borrow that. That's a 7-inch bracelet, so it's just over 7 inches because you've got the clasp on it. Okay. It's very difficult to do the top and bottom, so I always start a little bit down and then I can slide it up. Okay. If I'm doing something that I don't know how long it's going to take, how much pattern it's going to take, I might start part way through. Okay. So I'd start here, work on my way down, and then go back and finish the top bit.
Okay, interesting.
It doesn't matter. You can start there, do that section, shove them together. Okay. Doesn't matter. Okay. You can do that. So. Right, now we get to the loom beading. Yeah. Last they say. Okay, so we've got our thread. We're going to pass it underneath the warps. So through the middle, all of them, you're going to pass it underneath all of them. Now we're going to pick up our first 5 beads.
And is that off number A? So we're starting at A.
I'm just going to do a very simple, I'm going to do a very simple pattern.
Okay.
Rather than anything complicated, I'm just going to do a very simple pattern. So I'm going to pick up an A. In fact, I'll do my first row as all A. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's our 5 beads. I'm going to slide them all the way down. You see them coming all the way down until we get to here. Now, like most craft things, the first time you do it is the most awkward.
That's when it's the most fiddly.
That's the most fiddly.
Okay.
Starting with narrow makes it easier. The wider you get, the more fiddly it gets. Okay. So your first ones, and what I've done, automatically slide them down. You can see how perfect the spacing is. They've now popped, and I'm going to try and turn this sideways. Hang on, let me, if I turn it sideways, you can see, a bit more. Hang on, yeah, let me just, I've got so much clutter here.
We'll get them in front of you, don't worry.
There you go. Can you see there? That's perfect. So you can see those beads, they're actually half below and half above. Now our thread is below. So at the moment those beads can just pop out. That's not brilliant. That's not what we want.
No.
So we're going to take our needle, we're going to pop it in. This is really difficult doing it in reverse. So you're going to pop it into that bead. If you notice, I'm pushing them up.
Yes.
Okay. I'm going over the warp threads. I'm going to push them in through there and come out. So they are now completely trapped. Those beads can't push through now because that needle is above the warp threads and the other one is below. So that's the whole point of this. So when I pull that through, when I pull that through, these beads are now fixed. Okay. So I'm going to turn it, if I turn it back, you can catch it over there. There you go. It's actually quite a nice view through.
It is, isn't it?
So as you can see, these will still slide. So you can move these. The more rows you get, the harder it is to slide them. But this number and this amount of beads, that's it. So now we've got our thread above the warp. We're going to thread it back through. Then I'm going to pick up the next colour. I'm going to pick up a pink. You know, you could do a Tom Baker. Am I showing my age? Doctor Who.
Oh, a scarf like he used to wear.
Yeah, you can just have stripes. You can make it. So we're going to slide those up so the thread is coming underneath. Slide those all the way up. Pop those through now.
And over the top with the needle.
And then you go back over the top with the needle. And that. Right, if I go over that, and that is loom beading.
Oh my goodness.
That is it. Okay. So that is the technique. Whether you're doing 5 warps or whether you're doing 86 warps, it is exactly the same technique. So if I turn that round, it's exactly the same technique for that as for that.
But just a different pattern of beads.
It's a different pattern. But there's more beads, and this is why I think when I have a bit of an issue with saying, oh, I'll start with some beginner stuff. It's the same technique. If you're an experienced pattern reader, so if you do any knitting, if you're a crafter, you could do that. You'd have to practice your warp your warp threads. And getting your tension for that many. But like I said, you can tighten it. So, but for this one, you'll pick this up in no trouble. So reading your patterns
is key.
So
and the thing is, that's the thing. We don't want to pigeonhole anybody, do we? Because some will take to it really, really easily, like a duck to water, and others might find it a bit more. We're all different. We're all unique. That's the lovely thing about diversity. So
absolutely, I would say for ease. Whenever you start something, do a tester.
Go small.
Do that one. Run off one really quickly. Do it in. I know this is 11s. Do it in 8s. 8 seed beads. It will grow a lot quicker. This will take a lot longer. There's a lot more beads you need to do that. Then you need to do that one. okay, because the beads are that much bigger. You're getting 8, 9, 10, 11, 3 per inch more beads.
But it's like we learn to walk before we run, don't we? That's
but,
the idea.
But if you've done that and you found it easy, you're good to go.
Great.
You're ready to go.
Good
practice
tips.
Practice if you don't have to jump straight in. Most people, that's a labour of love. That's going to take hours, but it's hours of repetition.
It's a project as opposed to
a project. It's repetition, that's all. It's no harder. It's just repetition.
And it's going to take longer.
And it's going to take longer. The more complicated your pattern is, so something like the elephant is going to take longer because you're having to read every single line.
And that slows you down.
Okay. If you've got something like this, you pick up the pattern.
Yeah.
And you'll start doing it. So if you do something like this, you pick up the pattern. It's repeated.
Okay.
So you'll start to get to the feel of how the pattern. And if you pass me the earrings.
Oh, these ones, lovely.
They're a very similar pattern. So it doesn't have to be a full bracelet. If I put those down, you can see that those are also a very similar pattern.
Yeah.
You'll pick up these, once you get patterns, you'll start playing with them.
Of course you will.
And having a slight difference.
Can you write your own pattern?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
All you need is some graph paper. That's all you need to do your own pattern is some graph paper.
Thank you, lovely.
There is software that you can do. You can do it on photo editing software or graphics software if you've got something like Photoshop or it's Paint Shop Pro when I was in school. I don't know if they still do Paint Shop Pro, but I'm old. But there's a whole host of different software you can do. Anything that will allow you to put a bead or a graph, you can do your own and just colour it in. Brilliant. But the easiest way is to buy some graph paper and sit there and colour it in. You're done. But with the others, you can import photographs. I haven't done it yet. I want to do my dogs. So you can import photographs and then you can create the pattern to do with your photograph. So once you've completed your beading, we're going to switch, looms, change. All change. Look, you see, I can't do it. I've got beads everywhere. So this is now 7 inches. Okay. That was quick, wasn't it? You didn't see me.
I blinked and I missed it.
Busy doing it away. So this is now 7 inches long. So we're now ready to take it off.
Yes.
Okay. So as you can see, tied underneath this are all my warp threads.
Yep.
Yeah. So they were all just stuck underneath there. So they're all ready to be finished off. You can tell how long it is. I've only got two lots to finish off, and then we've got all our warp threads. Okay. So there's a little trick. When I first started loom beading quite a long time ago, I think one of my first projects was about 60. No, it was 30 wide.
That was your first project?
That was my first project. I did a necklace quite similar to the daisy necklace.
This one here.
Yeah. Only it was tiger print.
Oh, okay.
It was a print. But each piece, and I'd done 5 pieces. Each piece had 30 threads top, 30 threads bottom.
Gosh, right.
I snipped them all, which is what some looms tell you to do. So I'd snip them all. And then that means each piece had 60 warp threads that had to be sewn in and finished.
No.
That finished me for a while with loom beading. That was enough. It's like, no, can't do that. So I'm going to pass that to you, Zena, because otherwise I'm going to send them everywhere.
Lovely, no problem at all. I can do that.
So with the Peakdale loom, the big one.
The wooden one.
The wooden one, you just slack it off and ease it out, and then you can unhook it.
Okay.
This one's got the flex. So don't over flex it, but what you want to do is flex it enough to hook these over. So I'm going to try and do this without breaking it. Okay, so I've just put my scissors underneath in the middle, and I'm just going to take that over the top.
Yep.
And then we get the piece in one piece. Out she comes.
Off the loom.
Off the loom. Unhook the other side, and then this is the bit where I sewed in. So let's pull that off. So that's how this comes to you, and that's why you have the tensioning bar across, and then it flexes. So the only thing holding that curved was the warp threads.
Oh, okay.
That's why you've got that tension, because it just uses it from that. So that's really great, because that one comes in a little small case. It's great. Yeah. It's very, very portable.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to give you my needle for now.
Oh, thank you. You're very kind.
I am.
Thank you.
So, how do we get rid of all these warp threads?
I don't know. How do we get rid of all these warp threads, I hear you ask?
This is the magic. I love this bit. Okay, so I'm going to start at this end and I'm going to spread them out. I'm going to take the second one along. So, this one here. Okay. And I'm going to pull. What you want to be seeing, what you want to watch is this side. So I'm going to gently pull. Can you see that?
Oh.
Thread here. This one here. Keep your eye on that. I'm pulling that through. That's now over here.
All the way?
Yeah.
Oh.
I've done the wrong one because at some point I've snipped that. I've snipped the wrong bit. So that means I've got 2 to finish there. Okay. So I'm going to go to the next one. It can happen. Don't worry. So I'm going to pull that one and I'm going to pull the next one through. You might find you've got to make sure they don't snag this end, but that's just making sure they're all lying flat. There we go. So you pull it through. If it snags at all and you can't, don't try and force it.
Okay.
What that means is when you've gone through, you've caught it with your needle.
Right.
When you start, you'll do that quite a few times.
Oh, interesting.
Just means you've got to cut it there, and then that's 2 more you've got to add in. So you're just going to ease that down. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Then we're going to go to the next one. Are you watching this side? And you're going to pull this through. And if I'm doing this the right way, what we'll end up with, as we work our way up here.
Oh, so you're alternating sides each time?
So I'm alternating sides.
Got you.
Can you see how my thread's getting longer and longer? This has 2 things. We've got nothing to finish off here.
Right.
Yeah. So we're going along. Come here. And you get, like I say, you get more and more thread. So you can imagine what you're doing if you've got, I'm dreading to do the 86
on the bag
wide, yeah.
But just take your time and make sure you're choosing the right thread.
If you notice, I'm holding this flat. Yeah. I don't want to just hold it here and pull there. You can snag it. You can cause it to snag. But if you meet resistance, stop.
Okay.
And just go on to the next one, because if you've got to finish one off, then it doesn't matter. I have cut through with the thingy, but you'll see when I do this one how long this piece of thread is now getting.
Yeah.
So that means 2 things. Whilst I wouldn't use this to thread another loom, I would use it to bead through. So you can wrap this up, this thread, and reuse it. Okay. Which if you've snipped them all, you can't.
Right, okay.
So we're
being frugal.
So we're being frugal, and it's also less time consuming.
Yeah.
It takes a couple of minutes to do this, but it's a lot quicker than having to sew them all in.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've got that, and depending on how you're going to finish the end, it's neater. So there is a quick way and a long way. I'm not going to do it all because you've got the idea. You can see there we've got no threads at all there to finish off. I know we've got some here. Doesn't matter. Okay, now finishing off. There is a quick way and a not so quick way to finish them off.
Okay.
I have a couple of, right. You've pulled them all through and then you're going to finish off the ends. So that's quite nice. It gives you a nice clean top. This is a wider one, so I've put a couple of little steps going up, a couple of little brick stitch, and then I can attach clasp to. So this would have a couple of clasps on.
Okay.
Just while I'm here,
yeah,
can you see the difference between these 2 fabrics? I mean, this is like, if I hold that up to you, this is such a soft piece of fabric. It's amazing. This is stiff. You can't do that.
You can see the difference.
This is Miyuki 11Os.
Yeah.
This is Delica's. So a delica bead, you can still do this with delica beads. A delica bead, a Miyuki is a rounded bead. It's like a rondelle, so it's a rounded. Yeah. Whereas a delica, if you look at the two edges, if you go in, excuse that little bit of thread there. If you go in, can you see this one's rounded? This one's got a very flat edge. I'm not sure it.
Yeah, we can,
you can see. Yeah. So if you imagine this one's more like a cored apple.
Oh right, okay.
Yeah. So it's rounded top and bottom.
Yep.
This one's like a piece of rock that you've sliced in and drilled a hole through.
Totally
so
understand.
It's straight side, corner, flat edge.
Nicely explained. Thank you.
So this is your rock. Yep. This is your cored apple. Okay. So it just gives you a very different feel. Yeah. Very different. You feel the softness is.
You can visibly see. Yeah.
So different. That's so lovely. Also, this will be a finer thread than that one. So a thicker thread will give you a stiffer one as well. So it's all combination.
Oh,
right. So that's finished off with a clasp.
Yes.
If I take you to this one, all I've done is I've come through the top and I've just over sewn loop-de-loop. You can see the loop. I've just created a loop and loop of thread.
A loop and loop?
A loop-de-loop of thread. We've gone loop-de-loop around there. You can use something like French wire to protect your thread, or an ending. That's great. They're lovely.
And you'll be glad to know they're all so available on JewelleryMaker.com. We've got everything.
As are these. These are
the endings.
Gold dust.
Yes.
Right.
What are these then?
These are slider endings. So you still need to put a clasp on. So what these are, they're a tube. Okay, they're a tube. They've got a little stop on that. So this end's flat.
Yep.
It's all it is a tube with a great big line straight through the middle. You can see that? Yeah.
Yep.
So what do you do with that? I know I haven't finished all these threads, but you'd finish, if you finish your threads, and I'll go back through that in a minute, we're just going to slide this on. Now what happens when you slide this on is the bit where there's just thread between the two beads, we'll just go down that groove, but the beads are trapped inside. That is the easiest thing in the world.
So are they designed specifically for this?
For loom beading, absolutely. They're designed specifically for loom beading. And then you just pop your clasp on.
Oh,
they're
that
brilliant.
Could be easier, could it?
So if you wanted to, you could, if you knew you were going to be putting that on the end, you could just snip your threads. And I've got 4 threads here. You can do groups of threads because you're not going to see them.
You're just going to tie an overhand knot?
And I'm just going to tie them in 2 overhand knots. I always put a dab of glue or nail varnish on it.
Clear nail varnish?
Well, it doesn't matter.
Well, it's going to be hidden, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Then I'm just going to snip through there.
Yeah.
And you can do that all the way. In fact, we'll do that all the way along with these as well. Just doing a couple. So you could, if you didn't want to save any of the thread, so you don't have to pull it through, you could literally just do this, snip them off. Thank you very much.
Put your clasp on.
We'll put our clasp on.
So it depends how frugal you want to be with the thread.
Yeah.
And if you can be bothered.
Yeah, absolutely. And what time you've got. So this one's near the end. So I'm going to pop that through. Then I'd get something to just
push them in.
Tuck all those threads in. In you go. Thank you very much. Shut that down. Obviously, finish pushing them in. I haven't.
Yep.
But there you've got.
Oh my days! And then is it just like a jump ring or something?
Just a jump ring and a clasp on.
Tag of choice. Clasp of choice,
absolutely. So then all we've got to do, so these are really, really worth the weight in gold, because that all takes time. So you could just do 2 or 3 knots across there in bunches, because these are designed, these I use these on the 8s, the 11s. They don't quite fit a 6.
Okay.
They don't quite fit a 6.
But they do right for the 8 and the 11s.
They'll do for the 8 and the 11s.
Great.
Now,
Brilliant.
we've only got now our two warp threads to finish.
Right, yeah.
So you've started and finished in the same place.
Yeah.
So I'm literally going to do a knot. I will need a needle, thank you.
I just
Look at that anticipation.
I know, I'm learning. I was ready with a needle for you.
So I do a couple of knots. Now
Yes.
you're going to say, oh, well, you're going to see the knots on the edge.
Oh, Alison,
Well,
you're going to see the knots on it. Oh.
No, you're not, Zena. Because
We're going to trust the process, Alison.
you trust the process. Right, threading your needle, flatten it first. So
Okay.
all I'm doing is using my nail, or you can use a pair of flat nose pliers to flatten it.
Make it easier
to make it easier. I mean, to be fair, your loom needles tend to have a bigger eye than a beading needle, so it's not usually a problem. And I'm now not going to be able to thread this
You're
needle.
tempting fates.
I have pushed it. Where are we going? There you go.
There you go, perfect.
Okay, so I'm now going to take that down through those beads and come out somewhere down there. Right, I'm not pulling that hard, I'm just feeding it through. I'm going to take the next one, do the same thing.
Flatten the end again.
Flatten the end again.
Yep.
Pop that through there. I'm going to go down the same bead. Now, when I go through, what I'm going to do, I tend to come out at a different bead. What I'm going to do, if I don't know whether you'll be able to see it, can you see that knot? You can just see it sticking up there.
Tiny, yeah.
And I'm just going to pull it, and now you can't see it because I've just pulled that into that bead. So that knot has now gone into this first bead.
Clever.
And you can't see it.
Brilliant.
So then, thank you very much.
Oh, my pleasure, thank you.
I will put some tension on there. So that means the little end, when you take that tension off, just sucks back into that bead a little bit.
Yeah.
And the same with that one. If you want to, just put a dab of clear nail varnish, but that's it. And then you've made your bracelet. However you want to do the ends, whether it's going to be a choker, whether you're going to do bookmarks, whatever you're going to do, it's so easy.
That was
Such a great.
Brilliant.
There is one word of caution.
Oh.
It's addictive. It is so addictive.
But it's a healthy addiction.
It is.
It's not going to hurt anybody else. It's not going to hurt you.
Once you start looming, you become a lunatic.
Absolutely. Alison, that was brilliant. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Now, if you've just enjoyed what you've seen, and of course you have, and you're thinking, hang on a minute, I want to have a go. I want to have a go right now. You can watch every single day from 8 a.m. in the morning until 1 p.m. in the afternoon on Sky Channel 674, on Freeview on 72. Also, we have our website, which is www.jewellerymaker.com, and that's live. The live feed is always there during those times. Also, you can shop 24 hours a day on our website. Okay, so that's an option as well. We also have a designated Facebook page for all of you newbies to go and meet like-minded people. It's a lovely support network, isn't it?
It's a great support network. You can ask questions. Nobody's going to say, oh, you've been silly. Nobody will ever say that.
Absolutely, there's no daft questions. Now, if you have a look on your screens right now, there is a QR code. If you just scan that QR code with your phone, if you've got one of them smartphones, you know, that will take you straight through to the page where you can sign up to our newsletter. And that gives you loads of information, again, loads of support, everything that you need. You want to be on that newsletter, it's ever so good. So thank you, Alison, absolutely brilliant.
I love it.
Brilliant. Yes, you do like a loom, don't you?
I do like a loom.
We hope you're going to like looming as well. So thank you for watching and happy looming.